All right, let's talk about Kaizen. It's this really powerful philosophy that has totally transformed companies, all through the incredible impact of small, consistent changes.
I want to kick things off with a simple question that really frames our whole conversation today. What if the secret to massive, game-changing transformation wasn't some huge, disruptive overhaul, but instead a series of tiny, almost unnoticeable steps? That's the core idea we're going to unpack.
So what exactly is Kaizen? Well, it's a Japanese term, and it literally just means change for the better. But it's so much more than that. It's a whole philosophy of continuous, incremental improvement. And here's the crucial part, the thing you have to get. It involves everyone, from the CEO in the corner office all the way down to the frontline workers on the factory floor. It's about building a culture where getting better is everybody's job every single day.
Now, embracing this kind of thinking isn't just some feel-good corporate exercise. The results, well, they can be absolutely staggering. So let's look at what we're calling the 5 big wins that companies often see when they really get Kaizen right. First up, quality. And this is a big one. Organizations that truly commit to Kaizen see a mind-blowing 30% average reduction in product defects. And it makes perfect sense, right? When you empower every single person on the line to spot and fix tiny issues as they happen, you stop them from ever becoming big, costly problems.
Next up, that better quality naturally leads to a 25% gain in overall efficiency. When you're constantly tweaking and refining your processes, getting rid of all the little hurdles, you just naturally make everything run smoother. That means faster production and, you guessed it, lower costs.
And this right here brilliantly shows the compounding power of all those small changes. A 40% reduction in waste. We're talking less wasted material, less wasted time, and fewer wasted resources. That's a massive saving that comes from just being systematic about eliminating waste.
But the benefits go way beyond just the hard metrics. This is where those numbers turn into something even more powerful. See, when employees feel empowered and heard, their engagement skyrockets. When your quality goes up and your costs go down, your customers are obviously happier. You put all that together, and what do you get? A powerful, sustainable, competitive advantage. It all sounds incredible, doesn't it? A total no-brainer, but, and this is a big but, here's where our story takes a turn. The promise of Kaizen is enormous, but actually making it a reality, well, that's where things get really tricky.
A lot of organizations hit what I like to call the implementation wall. They start out with the best intentions in the world, but they run smack into some very real and very human obstacles that can stop a Kaizen initiative dead in its tracks.
You know, the biggest hurdles are almost always people-related. There's just a natural resistance to change. We're creatures of habit. We like our routines. And if leadership isn't totally visibly committed, skepticism starts to creep in. And hey, if the company culture is built on blame or rigid hierarchies, it's just going to clash head-on with Kaizen's principles of openness and experimentation.
Let's really break down that lack of management support, because it is such a critical failure point. It can look like not giving teams enough time or budget. It can be leaders who say one thing, but then prioritize something totally different. Or it could be a relentless focus on this quarter's numbers, which just completely undermines the long-term journey of Kaizen. And maybe the biggest killer of all, if the leaders aren't participating themselves, why should anyone else bother?
Beyond the people stuff, there are also systemic challenges. For instance, if you don't invest in proper training, your teams just won't have the tools they need to solve problems. That, in turn, leads to resource constraints because time and money get wasted on stuff that doesn't work. And another big one, if you struggle to actually measure the results, especially the squishy stuff like morale, it becomes almost impossible to justify keeping the investment going. And this is the life cycle we see play out way too often. There's a big launch, lots of energy and excitement, then reality sets in. The daily pressures, the deadlines, they all come rushing back. Momentum slows down, people stop participating, and without that strong, continuous reinforcement from the top, Kaizen just becomes, well, another abandoned corporate initiative gathering dust on a shelf. Okay, so knowing the amazing promise and understanding the very real perils, how do you actually succeed? Let's chart the path that takes you from hitting that implementation wall to making real sustainable progress.
Success isn't about some magic bullet. It's about building a solid foundation, piece by piece. It starts with unwavering commitment from leadership and really comprehensive training for everyone. It demands patience, a long-term perspective, and celebrating those small wins to keep the momentum going. Ultimately, you have to weave this whole philosophy into the company's core strategy and back it up with real resources and good ways to measure your progress.
I think this quote from our source material just sums it up perfectly. Nobody is saying this is easy. The challenges are absolutely real, and they're significant. But for organizations that are truly committed to excellence, the payoff in efficiency, in quality, and in culture is more than worth the effort.
So I'll leave you with this final thought. It's not just about whether you want the benefits of Kaizen. It's about looking inward and asking a much tougher question. Is your culture actually ready for the commitment that real, continuous change demands? Thanks for watching.